Right now I'm working on replacing the power cord. Originally it had gone in here. Well, I used some small side cutters and carefully nipped away at it. Well, being careful not to damage these guys, because I am going to install a new power cord. Don't have many of these left. Whenever some show up for sale, try to grab them. This is, well, it's a replacement power cord that has the same type of ears that the original had. It's a little dirty, but it's intact. Contacts are in good condition. So, how does one go about putting this onto that? Well, turns out if you heat this up, the plastic will soften. I believe it's vinyl, and if you're careful, you can mush these ears over those without breaking this, and as it cools it will harden again and lock down tight. So let's give that a try. I'm going to use my heat gun set on low. In the past I did it with boiling water, but I find a heat gun is just as effective. Something else you can do with the heat gun is notice this has been wrapped up for a long time, probably decades. So it's got some definite memory issues. If I heat this up, take that right out. And before I do anything, I'm just going to warm it up a little bit over its whole length and stretch it straight. So heat gun I'm using all my projects. Just, I don't know, 5 or probably $10 or something like that at the local home improvement center. You can actually see it moving as I heat it up, as the tension gets taken out of the plastic. And it's much more pliable, and it's not even all that warm. It doesn't take a whole lot of heat to soften this thing. I believe there are some vinyl rejuvenating products out there on the market that may help as well. Just like there are rubber rejuvenators. Help keep it soft. I've even soaked things in new vinyl made for using in cars. But I've heard mixed things about any long-term benefits to that. Okay, now let's work on those ears. So we're going to get this nice and warm. It's also heating up the metal below, which is fine. So it'll help the process as well. Before I'm getting there. not quite. Okay, almost there. Almost there. Basically got one side. Working on the other. Come on, there we go. There it is. So, just like the original, let that cool down a bit and give it a try. Alright, I got the power cord all taken care of and high voltage box reassembled, and I proceeded to finally tackle that tuner. Undid 4 mounting screws on the top, a couple on the front, and then took a bunch of reference photos and started undoing the wiring. So we had 3 shielded wires going to this switch that switches between the phono and TV radio mode. Then that switch back here, I think, is what enables or disables the high voltage. And then there were just a few other connections. We had this mic cap coming out here, this going over to a tube, and a few wires. This was going to ground, this was going up here, I think, to B+, and this fat wire down here, I believe, was a filament supply. Let's see if I can verify any of that. Schematic here. So the dashed line would be the tuner. So the one wire coming out yet, I'm pretty sure that was the one I said was going to B+, because it was going right to a 100 ohm resistor up there, which I'm pretty sure is this 100 ohm resistor here. And let's see, you 2 coming out. One was going right to pin 1, which could very well be the sound. And there's that mic cap. They show it being inside the tuner, but, well, I guess it sort of is. It's 270, and that looks like a 270 to me, right as black. Now, something I hadn't realized all this time is I thought this set was inter-carrier sound, meaning common IF to video and sound, and it was picked off because I saw this was new enough to use a germanium diode for the detector, but no, separate sound coming right out of the tuner. So definitely got to make sure everything's carefully aligned, otherwise you don't get the picture and the sound synced up. Alright, so and then we saw that one filament wire, and then there's this guy, lug painted red, C note F, very strong signal areas, orange wire, AGC lead should be connected to red lug. Should check that out, see if I can find that, because if I'm feeding a signal directly in like a converter box, that would definitely be considered a strong signal. So let's see, when I pull this out, if we can find an orange lug. So I think everything's disconnected now. A little tricky here with these wires that are kind of wrapped around. They go up to these controls, they're kind of looped around the shaft there. There's also a big coil coming out through the top. I don't want to damage. I think everything is disconnected. Otherwise, let's see. Yep, he's disconnected. So is there enough room? Maybe I can swing it around down here. Get around that. I think what I'll do is I'll pull these knobs off and slide this support bracket off. And then maybe I can slide it out this way, past those wires. There we go, finally got it out. It would have been so much easier if it hadn't been for these 3 wires that were in the way. No doubt these were wired in after the tuner. Let's see, there's a screw floating down inside. Oh, that's one of the screws I took out from the top. Alright, so now I can finally take a better look at it. I'll check a few of the more accessible components, see if anything's really far off. Wow, now I can finally see what's going on inside there. Check that out. So this clearly is using variable capacitors. A whole bunch of copper plates. Amazingly pristine. I wonder if those are lacquered or anything. To keep the corrosion at bay, or maybe they're covered in wax. All on a phenolic shaft. It's funny, I was just reading about a thread about the Mallory induct tuners, which use a ceramic shaft that are prone to breaking. And there was some discussion of fabricating replacements. Otherwise, guys have had to resort to using epoxy glue to reassemble them. Because what happens is, as the lubrication inside dries out, people, of course, try to turn the knobs when they come across one of these old TVs, and it snaps the shaft. And you can't use anything like metal to replace it because it'll throw off the inductance. So, anyways, I just saw a question asking, well, why didn't they just use phenolic material? Why ceramic? Boy, one of these, I wonder how these are attached, because one of them, this guy, looks like the wax there is a little, it's on there solidly. So I'd hate to have one of these come loose and start rotating around the shaft and get out of sync with the others. That definitely cause problems. There's a few resistors up under there. I don't want to muck around with this too much, and it seems to be working okay as it is. But I don't see that orange lug that was mentioned in the service info. But hey, for sure now I can get in there, clean the switch contacts, lubricate the bearings. So up front here, there might be a bearing in there, otherwise it's just metal on metal with the shaft there. The rear might not be bearings at either end actually, but I could certainly put some grease in there. And then there's actually how the vernier action works. Nothing fancy, no ball bearings, no planetary drive or anything. It's just some friction discs. So clean lube that up wherever it seems appropriate. And also, while I got this out, I can get down in here. I didn't check all these resistors earlier. It was just too hard to get at. Might be some out of spec parts in there. After cleaning up the tuner, I reassembled it and reinstalled it. And the action is definitely a lot smoother now. But I'm still not 100% happy with the actual picture reception on the TV. So it seems like the picture's a little bit better when the sound is out. And there's some smearing depending on how the settings are set sometimes. Kind of like trailing smears going off to the side. So I want to do an alignment. I printed out the instructions, which look a little daunting, but it's not too bad. It's really just summarized in these two tables. Top sound, the bottom video. And while I'm going through and doing that, I'm going to recoat the picture tube, so it doesn't need to be installed while you're doing the alignment. So I can clean off this old coating, and then I'll mask off key areas and spray on this stuff. I believe I have enough left. Shouldn't be any problem. Also, I'm cleaning the gunk off the front of it. Got a little more to do off the sides. Here's to mask off, well, it's the front, around the side here, and around here. It's hard to see because it's dirty, but it's clean glass up into about here. And then you don't want it to get near the yoke, but it has to be close enough back to hit this, so maybe cut it to about there. I simply use green painter's tape to mask off the areas where I don't want it.